NSW, Walmart workers of Reddit, what's your people of Walmart story? Just last week I was unloading a truck in the back, and this morbidly obese woman hobbles through the big associates only doors, bends over and takes a crap on the floor, pulls her pants back up, and walks out. I got written up for yelling what the actual frick, but after the managers looked at the camera, they thought it was justified for me to yell that, and let me off with a warning. I don't know what happened to her, but the maintenance guys were pee. I feel like Walmart is one of the few things where all of the stereotypes and stories you hear are actually really super accurate. My experience, a very overweight woman with a walker strapped to the back of her electric wheelchair was drinking half and half straight from a carton while she threw loose pairs of sandals all over the floor. Sounds like some really eccentric performance art. Thonged lactose. I don't work there, but this lady started screaming about a golden lab service dog being too close to her child. The child was sitting in a cart in the checkout line and the dog was calmly sitting on the floor behind her. The dog doesn't bark, lick, move, nothing, and then the woman gets ghetto and starts shouting at everyone in sight. She had to be escorted from the store and never got to buy her stuff. LOL. At least Walmart protected the real victim. My buddy was a loss prevention officer for WM. He walked around the store all day catching shoplifters. One day, after working there for about half a year, he saw a woman stuffing merchandise into her children's clothes. When he approached her, she started yelling and screaming that he was trying to molest her kids. Then she started spitting on him and saying that she had AIDS. He quit later that day and I don't blame him. Customer asked them, "Do you have beef from a pig?" Me, "Do you mean pork?" Them, "No, not pork. Beef from a pig." After a lot of basically guessing what the frick they wanted and them repeating "no beef from a pig," I was able to figure out that they meant ground pork. My boyfriend and I dread Walmart, but sometimes it's the best or easiest option. We were walking through the parking lot to get to the doors and halfway there we stopped to see a circle of people watching a skinny, crack-whore looking woman on a motorized scooter. She's bouncing on it and trying to push it forward, but it seems to be out of batteries, and with every bounce she is yelling an obscenity. "Bounce crap, bounce cocksucker." We continue walking and a 6-foot black man wearing a spandex dress and a wig comes through the double doors, and as he passes the woman on the motorized cart he starts cackling. Walmart. While I was a cashier at Walmart during my sophomore year in high school, only two stories stand out. 1. I was put at one of the smaller cash registers for the 15 items or less positioned right in front of the subway inside the store. This family with 3 younger kids sat on the benches in front of Subway and bought the 3 kids those flute-like recorders and left their kids there while they went grocery shopping. Those kids blew into this for a good 45 minutes to an hour, driving all of us insane. I had to do everything in my power not to snap every one of them over my knee. 2. There was a lady with a small baby I needed to call the police on because the baby was crying and the mom's solution was to shake it violently and scream at it to stop. It went on far too long and I asked a manager what to do and she said call 911. So I did. You couldn't pay me enough to work there again. Shivers. Announcing on the intercom. Carnal interactions are not allowed in the store. You know who you are. I think I just saved 2 teens' futures. Story time. Basically, I worked in the video department of Walmart. I just sat around and made sure everything was right through the cameras. Then I saw 2 teens in an empty row. The boy whipped his thingy, so I announced what had to be said. Shortly I was fired by my manager. Okay, so one day I was working, doing my thing, and I hear someone ask me a question. So I turn around to see who was talking, and I see a dead man. Well, he looked dead anyway. I swear if he wasn't walking and talking I would have legitimately believed he was dead. His skin was a deep grayish blue. His hands, his fingernails, his lips, save his eyes and teeth. I did a good job of not losing my composure and I answered his question without addressing his appearance. Never found out what his glitch was, but my best guess is that he had argyria from drinking colloidal silver. Either that or I see dead people. He was a synth. Don't work there, but I was in line behind a girl so fricked up on pain pills that she sat on a bench and crap her pants. That's just Kristen. She's one of the assistant managers. I worked at Walmart for 3 months before quitting. I worked the deli and was called a dumbass while cutting up some old frick's cheap roast beef. My co-worker then told him we all were either working on our bachelors or had gotten out of the army. He promptly shut up. Another time a whale of a woman and her crying mini whale stormed up to me while I was heading into the store to start my shift and began verbally berating me, saying my daughter has a 104 fever. Where is your goddamn baby Tylenol? I almost got fired because I replied, if your kid has that high of a fever you need a doctor, not Tylenol. Not to mention the item she wanted had apparently been recalled. Worked at Walmart for a year and a half. One night some kids hacked into our wall of speakers and started playing P at full blast. None of the managers knew what was going on, so they just were standing in front of the speakers listening to women moaning and men grunting. Eventually, they just unplugged all the speakers. Best night at work ever. My cousin works at the pharmacy station in a Walmart and they are extremely understaffed. One day a pharmacist called in sick at a different Walmart, so my cousin's pharmacist had to run that one also. So it took longer than usual for people to get their medication. This lady came in and looked at a long line and was like, I'll be back, this line is too long, just kind of announced it and left the shop. An hour later she came back and yelled at my cousin for why the line wasn't shorter, and she tried to convince the people in line to let her go ahead because she was already in the Walmart for an hour. When she didn't get her way she just left. Former Walmart employee, worked the deli, Santa pimp. I have no other name. It was an older man who played the role of Santa year round. In the winter, he was dressed as classic Santa. In the summer, he wore red shorts, white t-shirt, and red suspenders, still in Santa character, but in the fall and spring, he wore a bright red tracksuit with a white stripe, and a bright red wide brim pimp hat. No other way to describe it. I named him Santa Pimp. There was also the person in the motor scooter cart whose stomach was scraping the floor as she drove, and the woman who was out of breath walking to the deli, was having a hard time breathing as she ordered 2 pounds of mozzarella sticks, then proceeded to start eating them as she wheezed her way away from the deli. I worked there for a couple of years in produce while in college, and there was this elderly woman that would regularly come onto me. It was usually just harmless flirting from her, but one time it escalated a bit. I was stocking grapes at like 10 PM and the woman comes up to me asking if they're sweet. I tell her that I have no clue because I'm not allowed to try them. I actually know an employee who was fired for sampling the produce, but that she was free to, which she does. She then encourages me to try it again, but I tell her no. Finally she points to something and tells me to look, and pops the grape in my mouth. She then puts her arm around my waist and asks was it sweet right into my ear. I said yes, and quickly excused myself to the back room. Again, like many others, I do not work there, but this story scarred me as a kid. Some huge burly black dude came in behind me and my mother, wearing a mini skirt and a mini tank top, both of which were hot pink and matching his wig. He is also carrying a purse with a fake dog in it. Now, I do not mind cross-dressers or ever have. I was 8 when this happened, but he really seemed off. Like he wasn't trying to play the part but was trying to make fun of cross-dressers. My mother didn't notice him until he threw a tantrum. Yes, a big, burly, adult man, and screamed. I mean like literally. His lungs almost fell out. I want chocolate on my man period. No wow, and then like 3 other dudes walked up with heart-shaped boxes of chocolate. I am guessing it was a prank or a joke of some sort, but it fricked me over as a little kid. I don't work there, but I shop there often since it's right beside my house, walking distance. So one day I'm buying flowers and get well balloons for my friend who is battling lung cancer. While at the checkout line, this guy, obviously older guy, was trying to hit on me. What was creepy was that he asked my age, and I said 18, which he replied, I got here just in time. I now say that I'm 17 when asked. The true creeps are not deterred by 17. I worked nights in the bath and bedding department. One night we had a drunk guy and his sober GF come in looking for a bathroom mirror, so I tried to help him the best I could, so I could just get him out of the store. I showed him the countertop mirrors and he got extremely offended because he wanted one for in the shower. He started yelling at me and I decided that I had enough of that crap and I started to walk away to go get a manager. This guy grabbed me by my shoulder, whipped me around to face him and started shaking me by my shoulders and screaming in my face. I promptly ran to the office and had a panic attack. Because yay anxiety. My manager called the police and about 30 seconds later my co-worker came in saying a drunk guy just pee on the bike rack. It was an eventful night. Couple quick things I remember from my Walmart employment. First was the one day as I'm leaving work. I walk out the front door and I see a guy walking in with a squirrel on his shoulder. I do a double take. And sure enough there's a guy with a live squirrel perched on his shoulder. Second story was once when one of my fellow associates had to take a motorized cart back to the front from the garden center. Whoever had been in the cart previously had wet themselves and there was still a puddle. The unknowing associate sat right in said puddle. From that day on I triple checked the carts before I rode them back. Had a man walk to the liquor aisle, calmly take a bottle of vodka, walk to the sporting goods section while chugging it, then take a fishing knife out of its packaging, walk calmly to the toy section, and then cut his own arms open in front of a family. The blood was everywhere. He survived somehow. What really astounds me is that it never showed up on the news. Neither did the bomb threat that we had several months earlier. Walmart has deep pockets. Most of these things aren't unique to people who shop at Walmart. I see this sort of stuff at the public library all the time. Okay, so I do not work at Walmart but had the pleasure of visiting a Walmart in a small mountain town of Western NC. Anyway, I was waiting in the checkout line and this family was in front of me. I was impressed with how normal this family was. Mom, dad and son all had the appropriate amount of teeth and not too heavy accents. That assumption was the wrongest I had ever been. So I was waiting there for like 5 minutes when the son, who was probably 5 or 6, starts acting weird like dancing etc. I assumed he had to go to the bathroom and the parents were ignoring him. Well, this kid literally dropped his pants and laid a deuce right in front of me in the checkout line. The worst part was his parents watched and then continued on with the checkout process. Didn't apologize. Didn't clean it up or anything. All they said was, we encourage him to express himself. I have no idea how crapping in public is expressing himself, but that was the single grossest thing I have ever seen. I felt so bad for the poor Walmart worked, who had to clean it up. I used to work as a video game merchandiser, and Walmart was one of my main stores. So while I wasn't really employed there, I still dealt with customers and so on. One night we were having a midnight launch of some game, and it was pretty slow, so I was just straightening and talking to customers. In walks in this young couple with a stroller and a toddler in hand. Now mind you, this is about 11:30 at night on a Monday. The toddler is fussy and keeps telling her parents she's tired and just wants to go to bed. Her father outright smacks her and tells her to be quiet cause he's looking at video games. Needless to say, I called the manager and they kindly asked them to leave. And no, they didn't buy any video games. I've only been to a Walmart a handful of times. I don't live in America, but I heard a woman say to her 4 5-year-old son, "You gonna fix your face or I'm gonna slap the fuck out of it." I worked at Walmart at Myrtle Beach one summer during college, and while stocking the shampoo section, a fairly large woman came up to me and asked if I knew where the feminine spray was. Thoughts running through my 19-year-old head in the span of about 5 seconds. 1. What's that? 2. She said feminine for a reason. 3. Whoa, they make sprays for feminine areas. 4. You. What? She must have seen the deer in the headlights look on my face and decided I needed a more thorough explanation of the product for which she was inquiring. She proceeded to squat down, wave her hand in front of her feminine bits and say, quite loudly, "You know, coochie spray." Her boyfriend turned to her and asked, "Wait, you've gotten that here?" To which she responded, "Nah, but I figured they've got it. It's Walmart." At this point, I'm pretty much speechless, but I vaguely remember mumbling something along the lines of "try over in pharmacy, TLDR. A woman asked me where she could find coochie spray while waving her hand in front of her crotch. I used to work inside a Walmart at a Subway. One time I had to use the bathroom and as soon as I walk in, I noticed 2 pairs of feet in the handicap stall. I think no big deal, probably just a caretaker helping out, and then 2 perfectly able middle-aged men come out. I was a little confused at first, but I thought maybe it's just a couple of guys satisfying their urges. I zipped up and turned to wash my hands when I see one of them washing off a syringe and spoon. It was a sad reflective evening for me as I said to myself, I may hate this job, but I am not a rich addict, so I've got that going for me. Once a lady attempted to pay me without knowing how much her money was worth. She tried to, quarter by quarter, pay for her $7 worth of items while looking expectantly at me with each coin. After exhausting the $3 in coins she brought in, I told her I could remove one of the items, which was unacceptable. She asked so good a few times. I told her I still needed more payment, and she huffed and said people in New York were much nicer. Sam's Club associate here. Since we're technically owned by Walmart, it counts, right? Do you work here? Asked about 10 times a day. Do you sell track phone, cricket or straight talk? No, we don't. Well, why the heck not? Do you take cash for new lines? Number. People like you are why we don't. Where's the iPhones directly in front of you? We have a group of men who will come in and try to haggle for everything. $40 phone case. They don't wanna pay more than $20, but start at $5. I bought this phone here 3 years ago. Can I return it? Nope. You had a 14-day window. 3 years ago. You gave me the wrong color phone, sir. You asked for silver and got silver. I've got plenty more. I'm running the fancy new self-checkout machines when an elderly lady approaches me with 3 items and asks me to show her how to use the machines. I stroll over with her, bend down to scan the first item, and then it hit me. Crap. The thickest smell of crap that could possibly be produced by a human assails my nostrils like a chemical weapon. I quickly check out all of her items for her and send her on her way, but not before she gives me a pat on the back for helping. She toddles away, and that's when I noticed the brown chunks falling out from her pant leg. Then a scream of unbridled terror rises from the back of the store. The brown chunks led right back to the bathroom, and as maintenance later told me, it was as if a literal shitstorm had happened in that room. The mirrors, the store doors, the floor, even the goddamn ceiling was covered in a thick layer of refuse. Maintenance worked their way backwards from the entrance, and I thought the worst was over, until my co-worker pointed out the handprint-shaped shit stain on my vest. Bonus of the story, Walmart refused to give me a replacement vest. Ex-employee here had a tweaker running gushing blood out of his leg, left a trail all the way to the bathroom, upon where he locked himself in a stall and continued to pool up blood. Had to be taken out by ambulance. Oh, and to top it off, they had a standard employee clean up the hazard spill. Unrelated to Walmart, but was at the EB Games where I worked for several years. Parents wouldn't buy their kid Saints Row 3. Kid was 13. I told the parents you can whip gimps with giant purple corn cobs and their kid got angry. He told me he hated me, then proceeded to lay on the floor screaming his little crap-eating face till it turned literally cherry red. He shouted and cried so much that he passed out and the ambulance had to come get him. Needless to say, my face was also turning red because I never laughed so hard in my life. Worked at Walmart for 4 months after high school. Saw a baby almost die in the lobby. It wasn't breathing and was going blue. I was trying to hold people back with the carts. I was the cart boy. Ambulance came and resuscitated the baby and took it to the hospital. Got in trouble for blocking traffic into the store. Similar thing happened to my co-worker, where he used the carts to stop people from crowding around a passed out lady and he got fired for it. Frick that place. Not a Walmart employee but worked in a Walmart as a vendor. Land Wales scooters would frequently run out of juice as being a ham planet mobile is quite the strenuous job. They will do anything it takes not to have to walk over and get another scooter even if they spend 15 minutes slowly inching over to the front of the store on the little scooter that could. The first day they put me on a register by myself, a lady's water broke in my line. So instead of leaving she just waited in line like nothing happened. Bought her DVD player then left. All the time someone put a used diaper in one of the boxes of chocolate at the register. Which is why I no longer eat chocolate anymore. Some things just can't be unseen. Couple months ago I was working in the home decor type area overnight. Kinda autopilot working frayed when out of the corner of my eye I see someone pull the pillows out. Then get down in the shelf. Then pull the pillows over him. I walked casually by to make sure and sure enough I could see him. I could. So I went to a nearby co-worker and tell him I have no clue how to handle this situation, but there is a guy laying in the shelves. Ended up getting the manager and she just casually told him he can't be laying there. We lose a lot of money in stolen merchandise from makeup sections, so management decided to lock it up behind glass screens. We ended up losing more money in customers not wanting to call someone to open it than we did in stolen merchandise. We lose either way. I've been working at Walmart for just over a year and a half and have seen some very interesting crap. Some of the people and things I remember are a drunk Native American walking around the store giving random steaks to people, a guy roughly in his 20s at the store before we closed wanted condoms with his macaroni, people stealing expensive items through the pharmacy emergency door, seen many people walk in the store drunk due to the liquor store right beside the building, had kids set a garbage can on fire in the washroom, had kids overflow the toilet in the washroom which caused water to go 10 feet into the actual store, had people who were fat enough that their fat was pouring out of the bottom of their shirts. If I remember any more stories I'll add them through edits. I don't work at Walmart, but my best friend does. This happened on Black Friday while I'm hanging out at his house before he goes to work. He gets a phone call. He starts laughing and hangs up. Then he turns to me and says, "That was my manager. Some ghetto ladies got into a fight and one picked her kid up by the arms and tried to hit the other lady with him. The other lady grabs the kid, puts him in a shopping cart, pushes the shopping cart down an aisle, and the parent looks at her and yells, 'Don't you touch my child.' I'm glad I'm not there right now. What the frick?" A man tried to drive his riding lawnmower into the store. He got as far as the lobby. The early morning strippers are dressed surprisingly better than the average clientele. One woman assaulted another with a live lobster back when that was still a thing. Honestly, I've forgotten more people than anyone should have to witness for the pay I make. My mother has worked at Walmart for many years now as an optometrist in the vision center. Even though she's usually in her office and doesn't see much of the shopping people, she gets a good amount of crazies also. So, she's going about her business and going through her appointments when this 28-year-old woman shows up. First of all, she is wearing pink pajama pants, a tank top, and brushed hair, and according to my mom, unbrushed teeth. Of course my mom doesn't say anything about it since this wasn't the first time for this to happen. So this lady gets in the chair and my mom asks her the usual questions where the lady gives some half-hearted answers. That is until they get to this question. "Mom, are you on any medications?" Lady, "No, but I do have a concussion." Mom, "But you're not on medication?" Lady, "No, my doctor told me I don't need any." Mom, "But he diagnosed you with a concussion?" Lady, "Yes." Mom, "Okay, what is your doctor's name so I can ask him to put you on medication?" Lady, "Oh, he's retired now." Mom, screaming internally, "Excuse me?" Lady, "Yeah, he's been retired for 2 years now." Mom, "Then how did he diagnose you with a concussion?" Lady, "Oh, he diagnosed me a couple weeks before he retired." Mom, "Then why do you still think you have a concussion?" Lady, "He never diagnosed me with not having a concussion." By this point I was laughing too hard to listen to the rest of it. Ex-worker of Walmart. Gonna give one of my good stories. Worked at a small store in the middle of nowhere. There was a legend that there was a hot exhibitionist chick who came in time to time and walked around naked sometimes until she was told to leave and they call the cops. Thought it was all myth till I went to clean up a mess in the soda aisle and walked by the freezers and there she was completely naked. I stared longer than socially acceptable. I had just turned 18 and there were boobs. Then walked away and didn't say anything to anyone. It was awesome. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.